Welcome to Working Crass Podcast, where we are crass and we say ass. And that's what we do.
And we talk about stuff going on in the world.
That's correct.
Yeah.
This is Lauren.
And this is Joshua.
And together we're Working Crass Podcast. All right, cool. So we're going to get started here with an article from the Washington Post. He's cute. But is he swab-worthy? How rapid testing became a dating ritual.
It didn't. It didn't. It definitely didn't.
Now, full disclosure, we've been dating for 5 years, 6 years, 6 years.
Something like that.
Yes, we've been dating for 6 years.
Yeah.
And so we're not on dating apps or anything like that. So, you know, I wouldn't say that we're experts in the field, but we are in a 6-year relationship that's successful, and we're engaged to be married. So I would say we're not only are we experts in the field of dating, most people are failures. And we're in the top 1%.
Yeah, I would say that we're like the Olympians of daters.
Exactly. If dating was a dumbbell, I'd lift it, I'd throw it into the sky, and it'd hit the moon. All right, cool. So asking someone to stick something up their nose isn't usually polite first, second, or even third date behavior. But when Jamie Gloin's date called an hour before they planned...
Hold on.
Yeah, we have to stop here.
We need to stop.
Jamie Gloin.
That is a funny name. But before that, the first sentence isn't usually polite. When is sticking something up somebody else's nose polite?
No, asking someone to stick something up their own nose, not sticking something up someone else's nose. That's absurd, Lauren. No, asking someone to stick something up their nose isn't usually polite. But, you know, what if, and hypothetical here, what if you got the nastiest, bloodiest little booger in your nose? And we're on a date, we're in a nice place. I'm going to ask you to stick your finger up your nose and pick that thing out of there, or at least stick a tissue up there.
Okay, maybe. But even then, I don't think you would really say, hey, go stick your finger up your nose and knock that booger out.
How do you know I wouldn't say that?
Well, you might. But
I might.
But I would say typically somebody would just say, hey, you got something in your nose, and then allow you to make the choice for yourself whether it requires sticking something up there or not.
Interesting. Well, they just said isn't usually polite. So I found some pretty good examples of when it's
want to say,
incredibly
no,
polite.
it's never polite.
Well, Jamie Gloin's date called an hour before they planned to meet up for an art exhibit in downtown San Francisco. Saying she had a headache, he swooped in with a nose swab. Gloin, I have a headache. Had several COVID-19 rapid tests on hand, so he took one to her apartment. As soon as his date's drops hit the first strip, the 2 pink lines appeared. She was positive. Okay, I'm lost here. What's happening? I'm reading the thing and I'm lost.
What's happening is this person had a date set up at a fancy schmancy art exhibit in San Francisco.
Okay.
And then they started not feeling good. And then the person they were going on a date with were like, you know what? I got all these COVID test kits on hand. And so they brought them over to the other person, and then that person shoved them up their nose, and then now the test results are in, and guess what? It's positive because they're trash.
But it's not Jamie
trash.
Gloin. It's not Jamie Gloin who's positive. It's the date who's positive. Jamie Gloin just had the rapid tests on hand.
This person's been hoarding rapid tests.
Yes.
First sign, it's going to be a bad date because this person hoards rapid tests.
What do you do for fun? Oh, I hoard.
I go around to all the mobile COVID testing sites in town and pick up rapid tests to take home.
You never know. That might be worth something someday. Gloin bid his date adieu and went to the art exhibit alone. So long, sick freak. It was his 41st birthday. Why? Okay, we've already established we're dealing with an absolute loser here. What 41-year-old is going on a first date? Answer me that. If you're listening to this podcast and you're 41 years old, get a girl. Right? It's not a little sad? Would you say it's a little sad?
I mean, it's a teensy bit sad. It's sad that it's their birthday and they're going solo to an art exhibit. Surely they have other friends to celebrate their birthday with, and this mysterious date wasn't the only person in their lives.
Can I say something really controversial here?
Say it.
Single people, kind of gross.
I've always thought that.
Like, what's your fucking problem?
I'm like, ew, why do you exist? Like, just stop.
Oh, what's wrong with you?
Literally, I puke when I see a single person.
It's just like,
I'm just like, God made us perfect.
They like want to go out.
Single people just fall short of that, you know?
They want to go out to like bars and meet new people and have experiences. Gross.
Oh, gross.
Yeah.
Sick. Disgusting. They should be in jail.
Anyway, so Gloin's 41st birthday. He says, "You have COVID. I'm out of here." And although he was celebrating solo, he was relieved to be vaccinated, boosted, and to have an antigen test to spare.
Lame. Yeah, everything about this person is lame.
How was your 41st birthday? You know, I celebrated alone and I did it at an art show, but
at least I'm boosted, vaccinated, and had an antigen test to spare. Yeah.
You know what? I found at first I was feeling really down about my birthday because like nobody like wanted to celebrate it.
Like not my family, not like the people I went to school with.
Not even my date.
None of my neighbors. Like literally nobody wanted to go with me because I'm that big of a loser.
But then I remembered, hey, I'm vaccinated.
And I'm boosted.
That cheered me up. That was the best birthday I've ever had. Best birthday of my life, 41 years in. Anyway, many in the dating scene aren't as cautious or prepared. Of course not. And who can blame them? For about 2 years, the coronavirus pandemic has been making the awkward and excruciating dating dance even more complicated. And how does the dating dance go? Is it left, right? Left, right?
I think it's everybody clap your hands.
Clap.
I believe that's the one. To the left, to the left. That one.
Oh, that's the dating dance.
I think. I don't know. They play it at bar mitzvahs all the time.
For me, I'm pretty sure the dating dance goes hump your butt, hump your butt. Hump, 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 hump your butt. You ever heard that one?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I just made it up.
I was going through the lyrics in my head.
Yeah. Have I heard hump your butt?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
At every stage, there are new precautions to take and questions to ask. Is my date social distancing? None of your business. Do they arrive with their own mask or do I need to give them one?
No, stop worrying about it. Let them figure it out.
Do you want to go on a date wearing a mask?
Not really.
I mean, of course, a lot of people have had to, but I mean, we have an apartment.
If the place you're going to is like, you can't get in unless you have your mask on. Look, I'm not going to put up a fight about it because I don't think it's particularly worth it. I think time and place, and I'm not sure that is the correct venue. Mm-hmm. But let's say I'm going to if we're going to go to the park together, outside on a nice evening stroll, I don't want to have a mask on. I want to be able to talk to you and see your face and read your facial expressions, because that usually is a good indicator of whether the date is going well or not.
So I guess you're just anti-science then. I guess you just hate science?
Well, I do. If there's one thing that the listener should know about me, it's that I do hate science.
See, and this is written like somebody who has issues with anxiety already. Like at every stage, there are new precautions to take and questions to ask. Is my date social distancing? Do they arrive with their own mask, or do I need to? You have control issues. You have problems. You're thinking of too many things.
And what if she asks me for the mask, but she doesn't like the fabric that my mask is made out of?
What if she doesn't like the design on my mask? Oh my God.
Oh my God.
I'm 41 years old and I need to find someone fucking fast.
Nobody wants to celebrate my birthday with me. Not my mom, my dad, or any of my friends.
My eggs are drying up. My balls. They're draining out. They're draining out.
My egg balls.
My egg balls.
My egg balls.
Are they vaccinated? Boosted? That's interesting that those are two different questions. Are they vaccinated? Well, yeah. But are they boosted?
Do they follow the rules?
Yeah.
Do they follow the rules?
I can't date them if they're just 2 vaccines in. They got to be 3 or 4.
Oh, my God.
When was their last coronavirus test? How do I trust that they're telling the truth? This is all in addition to the pre-pandemic conundrums. Do I like them, and do they like me back?
So
you're already going into the date with too much on your mind. The whole point of the date is to be yourself so somebody can get a sense of who you are. If you're going in with do I like them? Do they like me back? Plus all of these other crazy questions, it's too much. Just go and be in the moment.
I noticed that it's a lot of this person worrying about how the other person will behave rather than worrying about themselves.
Yeah, how are you going to behave? Are you going to fart on the date? Are you going to poop on the table?
Yeah. Worry about yourself. Just, you shouldn't be thinking about what are they going to do? How are they going to behave? What have they done?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know, start with yourself first. Yeah. Don't worry about them.
I agree. I completely agree. But, he's 41 and he's single. So
it seems very controlling. Mm-hmm. That's all I think. It just seems like neurotic and controlling and just...
Yes, absolutely. All of those things.
It's just... I think this is completely unnecessary to worry about.
I agree. Let's keep going. In spring 2020, many singles learned how to master virtual dates. Good lighting is important. Keep it short and don't get too drunk. Virtual dates... Blech. Gross. In those days before vaccines, daters might have agreed to isolate or scrambled for a PCR test before hooking up or dining indoors together. That's stupid. Once more people started to get vaccinated in 2021, meeting strangers in person got safer and easier. Then the Delta and Omicron variants hit, those dangerous, horrible variants, just deadly plagues of variants. That Omicron that killed everyone. You know what? Did you know no one survived Omicron? Did you know
I'm
that?
Dead right now, Joshua. I'm dead. Doing this podcast, we're ghosts.
Yeah.
This is a ghost podcast.
It's crazy, though, these last couple of years, how many dead people I've seen in the streets because of this thing. Should I ask my date to take a test before a first date? Or only if we plan to be together inside? Well, okay, here's the thing. If you're high risk and you're worried about catching the disease, obviously, and this guy's 41 and he can't date anyone, so I'm assuming he has a few pre-existing conditions, if you know what I mean.
Mostly mental.
Well, mostly mental. And, but I mean, if you're high risk and you're older, and I understand saying like, hey, I don't want to go on a date until like you had like a test. If you currently have COVID, then I don't want you to come on the date with me. So, and that's fine. Sure. Fine. If you're really, really worried about COVID, a test is the way to do it, right?
Yeah, I think so. Personally, I feel like if the person that you're about to go on a date with literally calls you and says, I feel sick, then just reschedule your date.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, you don't even need to, like, let them, if they want to go get tested, that's their business. But if they're feeling sick, just say, hey, let's postpone it and reschedule.
But don't just say, let's postpone it and reschedule and leave it there. Reschedule it right away, folks. If you just say you're gonna reschedule it, everyone knows it's never gonna happen, especially for a first date.
Yeah. That's what I was meaning.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Actually, make sure it gets rescheduled. Don't be a baby about it. All right, cool. So... the Delta and Omicron variants say, okay, should I ask my date to take a test before a first date or only if we plan to be together inside? And who's responsible for supplying? The person who's more cautious, whoever has more on hand, or is it each germ machine for themselves? Well, I'll vote for each germ machine for themselves. Who's responsible for supplying the COVID tests? The person taking the test. Right?
I say the person who wants to take the test.
Fair. So if you're the person who wants the other person to take a test, does that mean you're responsible for purchasing the test for that person?
Yeah, if you're gonna make a big fusseria about it, then you better supply the goods.
But it's a date, so what if I kind of want to pay to be romantic and nice? Hey, babe, remember when I paid for the COVID test? I just wanted to treat you. I paid for the COVID test.
I treated you, baby. I paid for that COVID test for you.
I've been saving up for that COVID test all week.
I thought I would take you out to a really nice COVID test.
Rapid tests can be hard to find. At about $12 a pop, they're not cheap. They're not always accurate.
Then why was Jamie Gloyn hoarding them?
They're not always accurate. That's correct. Some singles say they ask their date to get tested only if they've traveled recently or have the sniffles. That's fair. Why is that some singles? Others ask for a test while the relationship is still new. Oh, some daters say they're saving the free rapid test distributed by the Biden administration for a romantic rendezvous. That means you would actually have to go online and register to receive the test from the Biden administration, because I don't think they send them out to everyone. You have to actually request them to have them sent. We haven't gotten COVID tests sent to us, and apparently our state has sent a bunch of them. But we didn't get any in the mail. So that means they signed up, got them in the mail, and said, I'm going to save these puppies for a romantic rendezvous.
Because I got to make sure that I'm COVID-free to stick my herpes-covered dick in a filthy vagina.
I'm saving this for when I'm feeling a little frisky. He keeps his COVID test with his condoms.
Yeah, I just think it's a bit much. I think it's over the top. I think it's enabling people to be neurotic and anxious about something they probably don't need to be anxious and neurotic about. Again, I feel like you should just worry about yourself. If you are vaccinated and boosted and you have an antigen test to spare,
then you should be fine, right?
Then you should be fine.
Right?
Yeah, you should be fine. Don't worry about what the other person's behavior has been or is, unless they do something on your date to you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's really weird. Still, it's hard to know what to do. No, it's not. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention does not specify whether a test is recommended before you swap saliva with a stranger or invite them to come upstairs. Well, I'm sorry that the CDC didn't decide to really get specific to your situation with their recommendations.
Yeah, I've always thought,
Can you imagine going to CDC and searching, can I kiss?
Before any person hooks up with anybody, the CDC is a representative of the CDC is there in that room, and they give you a stamp of approval.
It's a romantic night after a beautiful date. You're on top of her. You're sweating. You slowly pull her panties down and you go, wait a minute. I got to go check cdc.gov.
CDC, can I come? CDC, can I come? CDC, can I come?
Oh, CDC, can I come? Oh, tell me I can come, CDC.
Is it safe?
Oh, can I come now? Oh, I'm about to. Oh,
Tell me when.
oh, CDC. CDC, can I come now? All right. Claire O'Connor, head of content for the dating app Bumble, says that asking someone the last time they were tested for the coronavirus is similar to asking whether they've had a recent STI test. It's a precaution you take when you're considering getting intimate with somebody. I mean, it is similar to asking somebody if they had a recent STI test, although I think that might be a little rude.
Yeah, there's
I've literally never before any date asked, do you have any sexually transmitted diseases? I mean, maybe I should, but it's always worked out for me in the past.
Yeah, it kind of sets a tone of you have like an inkling in the back of your head that this other person might be kind of gross.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that's the tone you want to set for your date, that you're just sitting there going, when's the last STI test that you've had? Because
that might be wrong of me, though, because now that I think of it, like I would only ever ask somebody if they've had an STI test if I started getting a little itchy. And then I was like, wait a minute. Have you had an STD test? I'm feeling kind of itchy. I would only ever ask when it was too late for me.
I think this is tricky.
I'd say
I think this is tricky because everybody is different in how they approach that. Mm-hmm. And honestly, certain dates, you might not be, engaging in that kind of, you're not going to be hooking up with somebody, so you might not even need to bring that up. I think it just really depends on the person, what your intentions are, all of that.
Yeah, definitely.
I think there's a lot more like factors that go into it that can, help us better determine what one should or should not do.
Yeah, yep.
But I would say if it's a first date, chances are you probably don't need to ask that on the first date.
I agree.
And that's what I was assuming this situation with
pretty
Jamie
presumptuous,
was.
Too, to just assume that you're going to fuck on the first date, too.
Hey, especially if you're a 41-year-old single person whose family and friends didn't want to celebrate their birthday with them.
Yes.
I would say your chances are not looking good.
Seinfeld fans are quick to draw a comparison between the scarcity of coronavirus tests and Elaine. Well, how do you say Elaine's last name?
Baines, right?
Elaine Baines?
Yeah.
Elaine Baines' 1995 dilemma when her favorite method of contraception, the Today sponge, was about to be discontinued. So now it just goes into a description of a Seinfeld episode? What is journalism?
I believe journalism is first biased opinion, followed by vivid description of Seinfeld episode, followed by biased opinion and cast of judgment on those who do not have the same opinion as me.
Let me give you my definition. It's similar to yours. I would say clickbaity title that a lot of work was put into.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And then body that is no work was put into whatsoever. Like I want clicks. Let's focus on the title and the picture. What's written in the article.
The words? Who cares?
The words? Who gives a fucking shit?
It could be anything.
Yeah, anything. I can recap a Seinfeld episode.
Yeah, we pretty much said the same. Our descriptions are pretty much the same.
You're right. They are the same.
Yeah.
It is really weird. Hey, I want to write an article about dating during COVID. Okay, but I don't know what to write about it. Yeah, well, why don't you just put an episode of Seinfeld in there? Why don't you just recap an episode of Seinfeld? Oh, okay.
Weird. I just want to say, I don't think that this is a real thing. I think this is like,
Yes.
this writer is trying to make it a thing, but it's not a real thing. I don't think it's widespread. And if you are going to require some sort of swab on a date, I think it should be an anal swab. Right? That seems like the way to go. That can be a thing.
If you and me are going to hook up, I need to see that doo-doo. I got to get a look at that doo-doo before I hook up with you, dude.
I got to stick this stick in your butt.
Stacia Davis, a 43-year-old computer analyst and graphic designer in Atlantic City, New Jersey, is one of those daters who's not so sure how to proceed. Recently, a man she knows asked her out to dinner. When she proposed that they both get tested first, he didn't think it was necessary. Davis didn't push the issue. I'll just go and pray to the good Lord that neither one of us are infected or people around us. Davis remembers thinking. Davis, who lives with her 65-year-old mother, who's a cancer survivor, kept her mask on for most of their indoor dinner date and took her untouched meal home with her. It was very awkward, very weird, Davis said in a phone interview. I didn't want to take my mask down, didn't want to eat. If Davis were to go on a date again, she says she'd test beforehand and would ask her date to do so as well, especially now that the government is providing each household with 4 free rapid tests. If her date were to decline, maybe we can rethink if we can really need to go, maybe we can rethink if we really need to go on a date, Davis says. This is what we're in. This is what we're in. So if he were to decline and say, I don't want to take a test, she'd go, maybe we can rethink if we really need to go on a date. Because she's definitely in a position to turn down, a date. She's a 43-year-old computer analyst and graphic designer
Well, that's a good job.
Who lives with her 65-year-old mother.
A catch.
A catch?
That's a catch. That's a fine catch.
Who sits on a date and panics the entire time and doesn't touch their food and says, I didn't want to take my mask down. You know what's the worst thing? Going on a date when somebody's mind is on something else and they're not focused on you. And then imagine like COVID on top of that.
Yeah, all of this just sounds like people who are not ready to be out and dating because they don't feel comfortable yet.
Yes.
And why not just wait until you feel comfortable?
Yes. Well, and also what this is people who are so attached to their phones all day, every single day, that they can't communicate with anybody in their lives, and they struggle communicating, and then COVID happens, and then they blame COVID for all of their reasons why they can't get along with people or work with people.
Do you think
This is the best
excuse? Right.
This is the best excuse lazy people have ever had. Mm-hmm. The best excuse that antisocial people have ever had. Mm-hmm. Ever to go, oh, it's COVID and I'm afraid of COVID, and that's socially acceptable, so I'll just do that.
Yeah.
Also, I bet students who are lazy and don't get things done, I bet the amount of like fucking
yes.
COVID-related excuses skyrocketed.
Oh, yes.
And you know as a teacher.
I know firsthand because I teach college undergraduate students.
Yes.
And, oh, my God, the amount of emails that I would get about, and they would use any sort of excuse in the book to get out of showing up on a Zoom class. Mm-hmm. And it would be like, I sneezed today.
Yeah.
So I don't think I should attend. We're on Zoom.
Yeah.
You can be in your room. But I don't. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
might sneeze through the camera, teacher. And if I sneeze through the camera, then you might catch my COVIDs.
I felt like my throat was a little tingly, so I feel like I should have an extra 2 weeks to write my paper.
I can't do my...
Because as you know, my throat is connected to my typing hands, and I can't get to the computer when my throat is tingly. It makes my vision go. I can't read any of the information to be able to type it out, and my throat is tingly.
Yeah. I didn't work on my presentation because my butthole was too hot.
I think that's a COVID symptom, right?
My butthole got real hot. It was like a volcano, Teach. Teacher, my butthole was like a volcano. All right.
Do you think this woman's 65-year-old mother, when that person went on that date, was like, oh, thank God.
The house to myself. Finally, I can lay in bed and masturbate. I've been waiting to masturbate for months. My goddamn daughter's in here all day. She works from home because she's a graphic designer. I don't ever get to masturbate. I pray to the Lord above.
And then
Please leave the house so I can twiddle my twat.
And then she came home and was like, it was a horrible date. I didn't even want to take my mask off. And now, if the next time I go out, they need to get tested. And if they don't get tested, I'm not going on a date.
She goes, oh, yes, you will.
No, I won't.
Oh, yes, you will.
No, I won't.
Mama's got to jiggle her titties around in the bed. Oh, jeez. All right, let's be done with this article. We pretty much are. Last thing was a story. Some people have coronavirus tests on the brain so much they're dreaming about them. So, and this is still in part on par with our description of what journalism is. Let me describe a dream a man once had.
Yeah, I've always said the people that you should go to for information are the people willing to describe their dreams to
you. When Denver Rose Harmon, a 27-year-old wildlife biologist in Bakersfield, California, was sick with the flu last month, she had a strange dream where she was in a post-apocalyptic land, ill and still doing things she shouldn't, riding a bike with a friend in a busy area, having dinner in a packed restaurant with her family, getting steamy with two of her YouTube idols. What in the fucking world? And
well, this isn't real.
Yeah,
this dream never happened.
Of course.
None of this is real. This is all just pulled out of her ass right when that person was like, hey, I'm writing an article about like COVID stuff and dating, and like, can you describe like a dream that you might have that would be like kind of like, you know, a metaphor for COVID stuff?
Oh, yeah. This girl, I can.
Yeah, they pulled it out of their ass.
Get this. Last night, I'm asleep, right? I fall asleep, and all of a sudden, I'm in this post-apocalyptic land, and I start doing these things that I know I'm not supposed to do because I'm naughty. I'm the naughtiest little boy. So,
tell me.
Okay, so first, I rode a bike with a friend in a busy area.
Get out.
Then I had dinner in a packed restaurant, and get this, with my family.
You bitch.
I'm awful. And then I got steamy with two of my favorite YouTube idols.
Ooh.
I got steamy with ABBA and Preach. My dream. And I might have given them COVID. And then, and this is the craziest part of the dream, Harmon received a positive coronavirus test result in an intimate moment, a scenario she thinks speaks to the stress that COVID has brought to our love lives. This is supposed to be, from the writer's perspective, this is supposed to be the proof that proves the reason for the article, that it's hard to date during COVID. And the reason why is because Denver Rose Harmon, a 27-year-old wildlife biologist, had a dream that she was given a positive coronavirus test while getting her butthole licked.
By her favorite YouTubers.
By ABBA and Preach.
Yeah, no, it's science, Joshua. Dreams are science.
Well,
don't you get it? Follow the science.
Fauci said dreams are science. Fauci said so.
Yeah, I have that in like really nice script over my mantelpiece. Dreams are science.
All right. So, man, we've already gone for quite a while. But moving on here, I think we're going to do these two things here, and we'll skip this for now.
Let's move on to another thing. You pick, it's fine. But let's move on to another thing, because I think we've all had enough of listening to this person blather on about their tree.
Yes. So if you're listening to this podcast, we're doing an audio podcast right now, but we're also doing a video podcast right now. Videos of every episode are now up on YouTube. Just look up Working Crass Podcast, and you'll find our episodes. We're also on Spotify and iTunes, Working Crass Podcast, and on Instagram at Working Crass Pod. So please go subscribe and like our stuff and check us out, and we'll post all of our new stuff there, and it'll be great. Okay, I'm done plugging. So for our video viewers, we have a couple of videos that we're going to watch here. Okay, so this first one is a video from Quebec. This is like a TV show in Quebec where they're talking to kids about vaccines. Now, unfortunately, this video is in French, and so for our listeners, we'll be reading the subtitles for
our
you.
listeners who don't speak French.
That's correct.
If you're a French listener, you'll understand everything in this video perfectly.
No, they won't, because I've turned the audio off.
Oh, never mind.
So that we can do the voices here.
Never mind.
Okay, so I'll be the kids if you could be this interviewer lady.
Okay.
Maybe we'll catch everything. I don't know.
But fair warning, when I'm tired, and I am pretty tired, I do have trouble reading things off a screen.
Well, then I'll help. I'll take care of this. I'll take care of this. Let's do this. Are you vaccinated? Yes, we both have one dose. Are you in favor of mandatory vaccine? And the kids go, yes!
I'll be the kids.
And the mom goes, it looks like I drilled him. Because, yeah. What should we do with the people who don't want the vaccine? She asks the kids.
We should call the police.
Yes.
If they don't have the vaccine, it can make a lot of people in danger. So, like what the government does right now, we should cut everything from them, including their balls. It didn't say that part. I added that little bit in. Little by little, until they summon and get vaccinated.
It looked like we have some future politician here. Then they laugh and they applaud.
We.
Okay, so what we've just seen is the kids saying that we should take everything from the unvaccinated,
basically,
and keep taking more and more until they have no rights, and that's what we should do with the unvaccinated. And they aired it and got away with it.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive. I wish I could see more hate like that on television videos. I wish I could see more hate coming from children like that. I love turning on the computer and just watching pure hate spew out into the internet. If you're listening to our podcast, if you could go out into the world and spread a little hate.
Every time hate leaves a child's mouth, an angel gets its wings.
That's right.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
I just keep thinking, yes. When somebody isn't doing what you want them to do, the answer is call the police and lock them in jail forever and ever and ever.
Take everything from them more and more and more.
Spank their butts so hard they cry.
You hit them with a fly swatter. Hit them with a wooden spoon.
Yes, we should be getting our COVID policies from children.
What should we do with the unvaccinated? Tell them I'll turn this car around, mister. What should we do with the unvaccinated? We tell them you just wait until daddy gets home.
We take away their toys and we say no dessert after supper.
We take their Xbox 360 away from them, and then they can't play at games anymore until they are vaccinated.
Oh gosh. Yeah, it's a little frightening, but also kind of funny. Just because how weird it was that everybody is like clapping, like, yes, lock them in jail, yes.
Yes. Oh, that's the best. The kids going, yeah, lock them in jail and take everything away from them. And
oh, what a smart child.
Lovely. That's great.
What a loving and compassionate child.
Thanks for spreading the joy around. Jesus.
And the mom just saying, I didn't coach them.
Yeah.
I didn't coach them. It's going to sound like I coached them.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
Yeah.
Which makes me think, no, she definitely didn't coach them.
What should we do with the unvaccinated? We put them in trains. Choo-choos. We put them all in choo-choo trains and send them to summer camp. They'll learn songs and dance and play all day.
And they get to take showers together. Fun.
Oh, man. The amount of people that get, like, just completely 100% canceled for comparing any of that to the Holocaust. And it's like, yeah, you're right. What we're supposed to do when we see signs of the Holocaust happening again is shut your mouth and let it happen.
Yeah, you should never
point out that we're moving in the direction of...
No,
never.
Never, ever.
Don't point it out because it's rude and it's mean.
Yeah. You idiot.
You're not supposed to do anything in that situation. You're supposed to let it happen, idiots.
Yeah, you are supposed to turn and walk the other way.
Who was it? Somebody got in a shit ton of trouble. No, it was what's that lady's name? She's on The Mandalorian, and then she got hired by Daily Wire.
You're right.
The whole reason she got fired was because she compared COVID stuff with World War II stuff. And it's like, yes.
I don't even think it was COVID stuff. I think it was like...
Oh, it was like cancellation.
It was like cancel culture. I think she talked about like how, because we're so politically polarized, like the rhetoric that we used.
Yes.
And when we're like talking about each other, like each side, the way they talk about each other.
Yes.
I don't know if she said each side. She probably singled out a particular side. But the point is... That's what I think she was comparing.
Well, the last thing you want to do when you see people treating each other like second-class citizens is compare that to World War II.
I say, when you see that, you shut your damn stinking mouth.
Don't tattle. Stop tattling. Okay. Let's move to
if
the
they
last.
don't get vaccinated, we send them to the back of the leader line. They get to be the caboose forever.
What should we do if they're not vaccinated? They drink out of separate water fountains and use different bathrooms. Just germ-wise and spreading disease-wise, that'd probably work. Separate water fountains, separate bathrooms, might work. And we'll call it separate but equal.
For bathrooms, it's separate, B-U-T-T, equal.
But it doesn't mean separate your butt. Like my friend Jeremy at school thought it meant separate your butt, and he pulled his butt cheeks and he showed his hole. Okay, let's do the last thing here.
Yeah, we'll move on to the last thing.
This last thing is we're big fans of Sarah Silverman's Instagram page where she has clips of her podcast. And let's clarify, we actually are big fans of old school Sarah Silverman.
Yeah,
but but I'm lying when I say we're fans of her Instagram.
You probably don't.
All right. This is a recent clip where she's talking about stand-up and And I guess this is the COVID episode because this is all about COVID too. So I hope you've enjoyed our COVID episode. I'm not calling this the COVID episode. In the description for this podcast, I have to avoid saying what we talked about or like, because I don't want it. Everything COVID related gets like blocked and shadow banned and stuff too. I'm like, we're trying to get more viewers, not less.
I think we should call the episode "Can I Come, CDC?"
I might just call it "Can I Come?"
I think put CDC in there.
All right. We'll see if that doesn't get us shadow banned. Well then, maybe, no, you know what? For the description and the title, what I can do is I can just describe an episode of Seinfeld. All right.
You probably don't realize this, but stand-up comedy microphones are probably the dirtiest thing you can touch your mouth to in the world. It's just comedians' mouths pressed against one piece of metal, and the same one over and over and over and over all night long, times a million nights. It's a petri dish. And now, more than ever, my Marona me, it happened, and I just kept going on with my stand-up, but I was living a lie because inside my head was an entire monologue of, I have COVID and I'm going to get long COVID or I'm going to catch something. So then I had to just stop and say, tell the audience what was going through my head, because it's just your comedy is so false when you're having a completely different conversation with yourself in your head when you're supposed to be in the moment, you know?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. Really hit the nail right on the head there. Comedy's no good when you're constantly in your head. Just like a first date, like we were talking about earlier. Like, of course it's not any good. So you stopped doing the comedy show and you told your audience?
Yeah, I feel like everything in life is worse if you're stuck in your own head worrying about everything around.
Anything bad can happen at any point in time. Bad things happen to people all the time.
Right.
You can lose a loved one. You can lose a family member, and that it just happens in an instant. Are you going to constantly worry about protecting all of your family members all day, or are you going to live your life? And then after you lose someone close to you, do you let that cripple your life, and not keep moving forward, or do you continue to chase your dreams and continue to move forward?
Yeah.
There's so many excuses to not move forward.
Yeah. But also, a lot of comedy clubs are using the mic covers in between.
Yeah, and a lot of comedy clubs are
wiping the
wiping
microphones. So if you're really worried about it, why don't you? And you're Sarah Silverman. You certainly have the power here.
You know how much this?
Why couldn't you just come up to somebody and say, "Hey, can I get a microphone cover?"
Or bring your own mic. You're Sarah Silverman. Listen,
there's easy ways to you. All of this could have been completely. You didn't have to worry about it. You have the means and the tools to be able to do what you need to do to still do your craft. And, I lost my train of thought.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Well, what I'm saying here is that most comedy clubs use the Shure SM58, which I'm holding right now. This microphone is only $99. Anybody who is a comedian at the level of Sarah Silverman could easily afford a Shure SM58. She's talking into a more expensive microphone in this clip. She could just bring a microphone to the club.
But what about the comedians who aren't at the level of Sarah Silverman, Josh?
Who can't afford a $99 microphone?
Yes.
I'd recommend saving up.
Well, that's a bit harsh.
That is a bit harsh. I'm sorry. If they want a microphone and they can't afford one, my recommendation would be to save money until you can afford a microphone and buy one. Is that controversial?
No. Or just get a mic cover.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know.
I just feel like there's ways around it. It feels like it's worrying for nothing.
just told them, and they laughed and understood. And it was, I guess, funny because I was just like, look, I just have to stop and say that my mouth touched the microphone and I'm reeling. I can't focus on anything right now. But anyway, ooh, that's gross. I mean, on any given day, the like dried semen and fecal matter alone.
It's just like, how many years has she already done this and touched the like, what?
Yeah, anybody could have had the flu, could have had, cold sores, could have had any type, name an infectious disease, mono.
I personally am a little bit of a germaphobe. I think the same thing every time I touch a public doorknob or like use a public restroom. Like, yes, but like, it's the risk that you chose to take.
As a comedian, yeah.
Like,
it's
well, not only that, just like getting up on stage that one specific night to talk into that microphone. Like, that's the risk that you take in that situation. You don't stop the show and keep going. You decide, you made your decision already.
Well, I mean, I'm fine if she wants to bring it up.
Sure. Yes,
it's fine.
That's fine.
I
think it's lame. If I was sitting in that audience, I go, oh, right? In the middle of someone's set, they go, I'm sorry, but I have to admit, my mouth just touched the microphone and I'm freaking out. I'd roll my eyes.
Yeah, probably. But point is, she wouldn't have had to worry about any of that because there were ways around it.
Definitely, 100%. All right, let's see here.
And stop complaining and do something about it.
Yeah.
Like people's hands touching it and... everyone's like putting their hand over it and touching their mouth to it to like be the pilot. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, this is a bit I'm doing about a pilot or whatever the fuck people do. Comics. And comics are dirty. I mean, I literally keep, and I think I've told you this before, a huge box of dental care, like floss, toothbrushes, etc. So I can like give them out to comic friends that, when you're in your 20s, maybe it's cute that you have no hygiene. Not so cute when your teeth start falling out and get older. No one taught you how to fucking floss. Click on the link in my bio to subscribe or follow.
Sure. Yes.
I do agree with that. You should floss. Flossing is important.
Yes.
Having healthy gums and teeth are important.
Yes, that's correct.
Of the things that Sarah Silverman has whined about, I'll say this is
this one's pretty acceptable.
I'll budge a little on this one.
Fair. That's fair. Me too. I'll budge a little. This one,
because yes, it is gross that people's mouths touch microphones, but at the same time, you are Sarah Silverman. You have the means to be able to provide your own mic or at least a mic cover, so you didn't really need to worry about it if you didn't want to. It sounds like it was something you kind of wanted to bring up on that stage.
Right. And what do you want to bet? Well, not what do you... I bet that after that, her audience, I mean, there's certain members of the audience that would hoop and holler for that too. Even though there's no reason to. It's just, yeah, woo!
Yeah.
You're scared of COVID! Yeah! Me too!
Yeah.
I don't know. If I was in that audience, I'd say, can I come? Can I come?
Can I come? CDC, can I come?
Can I come, please? Oh, can I come? All right. Well, this has been fun. Thank you for tuning in. You got anything else to add?
Peace out, Girl Scout.
Peace out, Girl Scout. Mama's got to go masturbate. If we want to do what we did last time, what did you learn?
I learned that if they don't get vaccinated, I will send them to timeout.
Cool. I learned that that the next time I'm about to come, I'm going to cdc.gov. Please, can I come? All right. Goodbye.